when you're screaming out, but you can't make a sound, you know it's only a dream. When your back hits the ground and things turn around, you know it was only a dream. 'Cause nothing is as bad as you think, even when you're pulling at the seams. When the lights go out, you still got me.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you're having a good weekend so far. We just got snow in Edmonton in just over the last couple of days, so I'm not going to be shooting too much. So hopefully I'll be able to make a whole bunch of tutorials while I'm studying for my finals. For today, we're going to cover a tilt-shift effect that you can do within Final Cut Pro. So a tilt-shift lens, these things are super expensive. I think they're about $3,000. And what they do is it changes the focal plane. So you're able to adjust the angle of the lens, which is really cool. But there's a whole bunch of moving parts to it that make these things super expensive. So I'm going to show you guys how to replicate that within Final Cut. This can work really well for drone footage because the result is sort of a miniaturization. It makes everything sort of look like a scale model. Because when things are this big, you don't get a depth of field. So the tilt-shift effect adds in a depth of field or a miniaturization effect, which can look pretty cool depending on some of the shots. So I'm going to talk about what shots you should do this with, and hopefully that gives you a better idea. But it is pretty cool. I could see it done as like an intro shot or like an outro, just to sort of like set the mood and the setting in a really cool and unique way that isn't really done too often. So I'm just going to show you a before and after picture that I've seen around here. So basically for this example, that's a bad example. For this example, it's commonly done for time lapses, where you're standing from an above position, sort of looking down, and you have a depth of field that cuts across, which looks pretty cool. So let's hop into Final Cut and I'll show you guys how to do it. So I have these intro clips that you guys just saw. This is a drone overhead shot, this drone shot, and then this one has a little bit of the vertigo effect that I showed you guys a couple weeks ago, and this one as well, and then this drone shot. So drone shots work really well because there is no depth of field already established. Drone shots are basically focused to infinity, and then another thing that you can do is speed up your shots a little bit, because that enhances sort of the miniature world effect that you can establish with this. So in order to use this effect, all you gotta do is search up the focus effect built into your effects, and we're gonna drag this on top. I'm gonna show you guys, well, let's start with this clip here. So as you can tell, you get a certain center spot that you can drag to wherever you want in the frame. So depending on your shot, you'll want to move this around to create the focus point in a certain area. So for this, I want to put the focus point at this intersection because this is sort of where your eye will naturally draw to, especially when it's sped up, and has these cars driving past it. So now you can just play with these settings. What is good to do, you want to try and make this as realistic as possible. Right now it looks very fake and not believable at all. So if you drag the width across to pretty much 100, that creates a widened focus area, which is more realistic for a shot if you're to actually use a real lens for it. And then now play with the height. Because this is so far away, this height can actually be fairly big. But as you can see, it still blurs the foreground as well as the background, which looks pretty cool. So if we let this render through quickly, and then again, you can change the amount of blur to. If you want to make this a super strong effect, drag it up. If not, then leave it at about 30, or you can drop it down as well. And then softness you can play with to make the whole image a little bit softer or harder. I probably wouldn't play with that too much, so we're going to leave that at that setting. And then emphasis you don't really have to mess with too much as well. So as we let that render through, we're going to drag the focus on to this clip here. So for this clip, we want to do a similar thing, and we're going to see the cars moving past. But what we're going to do for this one is we're going to keyframe the center location. So as the shot moves in, we're able to change the center point. So we'll start with that about there. We can keyframe the center. And then we're going to change the width again. I like to go pretty much fully across and then increase the height just to make it a little bit more believable. And then drop the strength of this one a little bit. So then to keyframe our location of our center, we're going to start off here, and then as we pan down, put a keyframe there, move this over, and then what we can do is just follow these cars as they drive through the shot. Come across, following, and then add one more just like that. Cool, so that one looks pretty good as well. And then for this one's going to be a little bit different because it starts off as a straight above shot. So if we were thinking about this realistically, if we used an actual lens, is the depth of field would be very even across. So you don't want to do something super shallow because it's not going to look believable. So if we drag this on, the effect, see, this doesn't look real at all, because if we were to actually use it, the width would be across and the height would be almost this whole shot if we were to use an actual normal DSLR lens or something. And then the amount, we can drop that a little bit as well. So if we want to make this effect fade out, so this shot, as you can see, it pans up. So what we can do is, as it starts to pan up, we can keyframe the amount so that it goes to 0. So if we start that just like so at 27, and then move up to here, keyframe that, and then drop that to 0. So now we have the effect that comes in for the shot, and then it will fade out into a regular shot. So you can play around with this depending on what shot you want, or we could actually make this go the other way and make it go more if we were looking to something like that. Just like that, and then we'll keyframe center there, and then keyframe the center on the road again. And then we get something just like that. So I'm going to let these ones render through quickly, and then I'll show you guys what the final product looks like. Okay, so that rendered through, and let's just take a quick peek. Okay guys, so that is the tilt shift effect in Final Cut Pro. If you guys like this video and you want to see more tutorials, please give it a like and comment down below and let me know what you think. Thank you guys for all the support. I really do appreciate it. See you guys next time.